So we are going to officially get started here. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Lisa Shulock with the Philadelphia Energy Authority, and I am the Director of Commercial Programs at PEA. And I am joined here with Alexis Takushian, who's Program Manager at the at the Pennsylvania Solar Center. And we are going to talk about the Solarize Greater Philadelphia program and the Get Solar program specifically. So just so you know, we just wanted to start with talking about why, as a commercial entity, you might want to consider investing in solar. Many of you probably very well aware, most of you, all of you, that energy costs are going up and they've been going up rapidly. Installing solar gives you predictable and stable energy costs. So you know for the next 25 to 30 years what a good chunk of your electricity bill is going to look like. So it's going to reduce your overall utility expenses. There are, and you're going to hear in more detail from Alexis soon about this, some really good tax incentives available, but they are expiring soon. So we're really encouraging people, if they are interested in considering solar, that this is the time to act. It, of course, helps with energy affordability, and if this is important to you or your organization, it reduces climate impacts. So we're here to talk to you about the program that the Pennsylvania Solar Center and the Philadelphia Energy Authority together run, called Solarize Greater Philadelphia, and we are partnered with Get Solar, and we are providing free or low-cost technical assistance and unbiased financial guidance for tax-exempt and for-profit property owners in the five-county Philadelphia area. So myself and my colleagues, Amy Cornelius and Atiba Kenyatta, who are on this call, are responsible for outreach and education, and Alexis and her team at the PA Solar Center are responsible for the full Get Solar program, which starts with feasibility and ends with implementation, and we're going to go over that in detail right now. So I'm going to hand this off to Alexis to talk about the Get Solar process. And for those who have joined since I started, if you could just put your name and your information in terms of your organization and what type of organization it is. Thank you very much.
I'm Alexis Takushian. I'm a program manager at the Pennsylvania Solar Center. We're based out of Pittsburgh, but I'm from Westchester, Pennsylvania, so very familiar with the Philadelphia area. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the PA Solar Center's Get Solar program. There's about 4 phases that we go through just to provide an overview of the program. First things first, we do an intake call. We understand the property sites that you're looking at to put solar. We accept the electric bills and then use industry standard software such as Helioscope to generate solar designs and then put together a financial analysis for you to go through the different options. That way you can look at the cost and benefits and the analysis for your return on investment on the system. Once we sort of understand more how you're going to finance the system, which I will get to in further slides, we do put out a request for proposals through our about 75 vetted solar developer list, NAPCEP certified, but we're also happy to work, and we have worked with public entities, municipalities, school districts, things like that, that have different public bidding requirements. We receive those proposals and then put them in a very easy to understand apples to apples comparison. We set up interview processes with different developers and then help you just really ultimately select the developer based on the information provided. Then we, of course, help you understand any incentives that would be applicable to the project, any grants that you'll be eligible for. There's so much changing in the policy world, so we're happy to be the educational tool for that. We want to see you maximize tax incentives and any other funding opportunities. So we use those to make a concrete financing strategy, and then you can sign a contract with the developer, and then we sort of fall back into a little bit more of a supportive role while the developer does like the permitting, interconnection, and install. Next slide. So you may be wondering what these feasibility studies look like and what key metrics that we can take away from these studies. So you can see here, this is a helioscope design for a rooftop. We show you that, for example, for this design, it's a 294 kilowatt system, produces 352,000 kilowatt hours of clean energy in the first year. We can tell you how much that system would offset the site's annual electric consumption, which is really helpful to conceptualize. This case would be 70%. Then we tell you what the estimated total return on investment would look like, including SRECs. We use a pretty conservative escalator for electricity costs, things like that. What you would look like saving on electricity per year, in this case 23,000, and then what the payback period would look like. We can show you, with and without additional funding. In this case, 6 to 8 years. And then we provide the data, just how we come up with these numbers. But we understand, we pull like the key metrics that would be most important to the client. We show cross apples to apples proposals. So you can see here on the right, it's a direct purchase model. It's has a system size of about 1 megawatt, but we're happy to cross compare different options to show, okay, we want to explore every option. So if we're looking at rooftop versus ground mount versus a different site, we can show you and ultimately help you select the best option to move forward. Next slide. So the request for proposals is something that we put together. We put any pertinent information about the feasibility study, where obviously where the locations for the solar would go. We also organize like a timeline. So we have a timeline for when the RFP would go out and the deadline for that. We organize the site visits with the client and then any other deadlines that would be relevant to the RFP. And then we, again, schedule interviews with developers to go through talk the project specs and to sort of get like more information about what they can provide for the client. For example, we've worked at schools, and some schools are looking for, how can we leverage this solar array for educational content? And that's just like something to talk through a little bit more during the interview process. It can really make, if any solar developers are on this call, it can really make solar, like different developers stand out and really does sway and it's a huge factor for who the client ultimately picks, in addition to like obviously the cost of the system. Again, we do have experience with public entities and special, competitive bidding requirements, so we're happy to work with that as well. For any entities on here that are thinking about going solar, obviously there's different ways to pay for it, and that's really the largest obstacle that we're happy to work through with you. Your best ROI will definitely be a cash purchase. If you have the funds, we've had folks, especially with smaller systems, just pay for the system outright. We also, have different financing opportunities. So Philly Green Capital Corps has loan programs. If Lisa wants to talk a little bit about that at the end. CPACE for businesses. There's also different green banks and partnerships that we have with, for example, Solar Faithful for churches that just provide power purchase agreements or loans for religious entities. So really, we've our net is cast wide in terms of finding unique and creative financing opportunities for you, and so we try and maximize that loan so that you're to bring down your payment period and find the most competitive interest rate for you. Another option is a power purchase agreement, otherwise referred to as PPA. These are for typically reserved for larger projects, but it's a wonderful way to go solar, especially since a larger project would be a lot, would be a large upfront cost. So basically, a third party will install, own, and operate the system, and basically are entering into a supply agreement with them. So you can know what your electricity rate would look like, over 25 years, and it really does protect you against the increases in electricity prices that we've been seeing over the last couple years. Um, it's a great option. Next slide. So I do want to talk and address the federal tax credits. Um, Good news that we just found out, most properties in Southeast PA are newly eligible for 10% energy community adder. So in order to get that 30% tax credit, it has to be completed. The project now has to be completed and installed by December 31st, 2027. So that's just for the base 30% tax credit. You get an additional 10% for that energy community, which we can verify with you. And then some systems are eligible to get an extra 10% domestic content bonus, which is up to 50% investment tax credit. If you are a tax exempt organization, you're still eligible for this. You literally would submit, the relevant documentation to the IRS and get a check from them. So just because you are a tax exempt org doesn't mean that you're not able to get this awesome ITC. Also, for the PICO utility region, there's an Act 129 one-time rebate. It's actually the best Act 129 rebate throughout the state. It's about 10 cents per kilowatt hour based on the estimated year one production of the system. Just in our overview calculations, this typically covers 5 to 7% of this total system cost. But it's a really great incentive for folks in the PICO territory to go solar. It's about double of what other Act 129 rebates and other utility regions offer. Next slide. So I'm sure you're thinking, how do I get involved in the Get Solar program? You can submit a Get Solar inquiry form, and then our senior program coordinator, Nick, will reach out to schedule an intake call and just get that preliminary information from you, request those electric bills, roof information, and structural drawings. We are happy to work with buildings that are still in construction. Then once we have all that information, we'll conduct the solar feasibility study and start that very long but process to get you solar.